What if the key to saving humanity wasn't just equations and black holes, but something far more difficult to measure? Today we're exploring how Interstellar transforms astrophysics into poetry, proving that love and logic aren't opposites. They're partners in survival. Christopher Nolan's 2014 space epic follows Cooper, a former NASA pilot turned farmer on a dying Earth who leaves his children, especially his daughter Murph, to lead humanity's last hope, finding a new home among the stars. Alongside scientist Amelia Brand, Cooper ventures through a wormhole near Saturn, confronting time dilation, planetary disasters, and the limits of human endurance. But the real journey isn't through space, it's through the bond between father and daughter, stretched across dimensions but never broken. The film presents a future where Earth suffocates under dust storms and crop blights. Humanity has abandoned space exploration, turning inward as resources dwindle. Schools teach revisionist history, claiming the moon landing was faked. Cooper must choose between staying with his family or potentially saving humanity, including the children he'd leave behind. Interstellar was built on actual physics, thanks to Caltech theoretical physicist Kip Thorne, who collaborated with Nolan to ensure the film's science held up under scrutiny. The depiction of Gargantua, the film's supermassive black hole, wasn't just visually stunning. It was scientifically accurate, created through painstaking calculations that even resulted in new research papers. Thorne worked closely with the Nolan brothers during brainstorming sessions, building the story from the ground up on scientific foundations rather than simply justifying plot points after the fact. When Nolan initially wanted faster-than-light travel, Thorne spent weeks explaining why the laws of physics prevented it, until Nolan intuitively understood the problems were insurmountable and moved in another direction. Even Miller's planet, where 1 hour equals 7 years on Earth, seemed impossible until Thorne calculated that a rapidly spinning black hole could create conditions for such extreme time dilation without tearing the planet apart. Every seemingly fantastical element has roots in theoretical physics. What makes Interstellar remarkable is how it renders abstract physics tangible. The film explores time as both scientific concept and lived experience. Drawing on Einstein's theory of general relativity, Interstellar shows how gravity slows time for those closer to massive objects like black holes. But Nolan doesn't just explain this, he makes us feel it. The most devastating scene isn't the black hole or the frozen clouds, it's Cooper watching 23 years of video messages in minutes. His son grows up, gets married, gives up hope. His daughter ages from child to adult, her anger hardening into resolve. We experience similar dilations in our own lives when we reconnect with old friends or return from long trips to find everything changed. Interstellar amplifies this universal grief through physics, showing us how we're all imprisoned by time's relentless arrow. Nolan uses familiar filmmaking techniques to emphasize this. The first act unfolds linearly, with traditional cuts to black showing time's passage, but once the crew enters the wormhole, the film breaks our linear experience through cross-cutting and temporal jumps. Even cinema, which can manipulate time, remains bound by its arrow, showing us one frame at a time. Then comes the controversial moment, Amelia Brand's speech about love transcending dimensions. Critics mocked it, the internet memed it, but within the film's logic, it's the thesis statement. Interstellar draws from Chris Marker's 1962 film La Jetée, where time travelers could only navigate through strong emotional connections to specific memories. In Interstellar, it's Murph's haunting memory of her father leaving, her refusal to let go of his watch, her love that creates the anchor point through which fifth-dimensional beings can communicate. This is where the film's female perspective becomes crucial. Murph and Amelia aren't sidekicks to Cooper's hero journey. They're the intellectual and emotional engines driving humanity's survival. Murph solves Professor Brand's equation, spending decades working on a problem her mentor knew was unsolvable. When Cooper transmits quantum data from inside the black hole, it's Murph's brilliance that decodes it. Amelia's faith in love leads her to Edmund's planet, which becomes humanity's true salvation. Their persistence, intuition, and emotional courage prove just as essential as any equation. The film also subverts expectations by refusing to make Amelia a love interest for Cooper. Despite spending years alone together in space, their relationship remains professional. Amelia loves Edmund, and Cooper ultimately helps her reach him, sacrificing himself in the process. When Interstellar premiered in 2014, it received sharply divided reviews. But 11 years later, the film has undergone cultural reevaluation, ranking 5th in a New York Times readers' poll of the best 21st century films. Perhaps the film's themes, climate refugees, scientific denialism, humanity needing to leave Earth, resonate more urgently now. Its depiction of a world that has given up on exploration and science, where conspiracy conspiracy theories replace facts in classrooms feels uncomfortably prescient. Interstellar refuses to choose between head and heart. It insists we need both to survive. What makes it revolutionary is how it positions women at the center of this philosophy. Murph and Amelia don't just support the mission, they define it. Murph's persistence cracks the equation that saves humanity, while Amelia's emotional courage proves prophetic. Cooper gets the hero's journey, but these women provide the intellectual firepower and moral compass that makes survival possible. We're all experiencing our own gravitational time dilation, watching loved ones age at different speeds, losing years to distance, returning home to find everything changed. Interstellar amplifies this universal grief through physics, showing us that separation isn't just emotional, it's written into space-time itself. But here's the hope. If time can bend, so can our understanding of what matters. Cooper saves humanity by loving his daughter across impossible distances, trusting that their bond transcends dimension and logic. Through Murph's persistence and Amelia's faith, Interstellar shows that survival requires more than equations, it requires connection. This is Ladies First, watching women in movies. Here we empower women by reviewing and discussing films that highlight their stories, struggles, and achievements. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.